Hey YouTube, welcome back to the channel. This time I am going to do brake bleed for 850 GSA. We're gonna do the front and the rear. And as you can see back there, we just finished doing the brakes on my 750 GS. It's the same process. And later on, we're just gonna go down the line of motorcycles since we have all the tools out. So let's get on with it. So here are the tools that we're gonna need. So an open .4 brake fluid, my ratcheting wrench, a T30 to remove the reservoir tank on the rear, and you'll see that later why I have to do that. The T20 Torx, that is to remove the front reservoir cap. And you can buy this, basically a pressure bleeder from AutoZone or O'Reilly, wherever, auto parts store. It's very cheap. And this is set up this way. So if you buy this exact same one, it's OEM tools. And you put the short tube here. They have its own reservoir tank right here. You have to use an O-ring inside the cap. Then you use the long tube. Then you use one of these. They come with all of these parts. So choose what fits best for your motorcycle. So it's nice on the GSA that there's a center stand, because it's nice that it's leveled. That way the liquid doesn't tip over. So here I am undoing the 3 bolts with the T20 Torx. So I am gonna slowly peel off the top layer. Just wiping this off. It's not really dirty. And carefully peeling this So according to the owner's manual, the maintenance interval for brake flush is first year and then every 2 years. Next, remove the cap off the nipple, then attach the power bleeder onto the nipple. Pump it, create a vacuum of 15 to 20 psi. Then use the 11mm wrench to release the nut. Using the power bleeder is easier because you don't have to go up top and press on the handbrake lever in order to pump the brake fluid out. Same with the rear brakes, you don't have to press on the brake pedal to do it. The only thing now that you need to do is either you or somebody has to watch the fluid level on the top. In this case, the front brake fluid reservoir. You need to watch to make sure that it doesn't run out of fluid up top. You don't want it to suck in air, because then now you will have air in the line. So make sure that you or somebody else is watching it and refilling it with fresh, brand new .4 or above brake fluid while this is going on. You're just gonna repeat the process until you flush the whole system. So we're basically just making the getting rid of all the air, if there's any air in the line, and also waiting for the color change, because the one that's already in the bike is actually darker than what we're putting in. When you're done, tighten the nut back with the 11mm wrench. Then release the pressure on the power bleeder before you disconnect it. Make sure that the front brake fluid reservoir is full before you close it back up. Be careful tightening these bolts because they are very fragile and you can easily break them. So if you're using a wrench, just be very careful. Otherwise, if you have the screwdriver type, it's better, so you don't put too much pressure on it. Be careful of spilling brake fluid onto your bike because it can ruin the paint. Moving on to the rear brakes. So we're starting with the rear reservoir tank. You have to take this bolt out, which is a T30 Torx. Since I have somebody helping me do this, I don't need to worry about having to mount this where it's not wiggling around. Otherwise, you can position it farther away and mount a longer screw and screw it back in, but I'm just gonna hold it. The same procedure goes for the rear. You take the cap off the nipple, then use the hose and the power bleeder to connect to the nipple. Pump it to 15 to 20 psi to create vacuum before you release the nut with the 11mm wrench. Before you release the nut, make sure that you are ready to fill the reservoir. So here I am removing the screw cap, and then there's a silicone covering, same as the one on the front brake caliper. So I just need to remove all of those, then I will be ready. Loosen the nut with the 11mm. Enough so that the fluid flows freely, as you can see. There you go. So remember to keep an eye on the reservoir and make sure that it does not run out of brake fluid, otherwise you will suck in air. Okay, now we're done. Tighten the nut back up and we can release the pressure and take the tube out. Meanwhile, here we're at max. So here I'm just replacing the rubber silicone thing back on there, then the screw cap, then tightening the bolt back just a snug. Don't try to over tighten it. And that's all. So hopefully you find this video very helpful. If so, like and subscribe, and thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next video.